Callahan introduced. You all got to hear him speak. We talked about some of our biggest takeaways yesterday on the show and a little bit when the show started today. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Wyatt joined us. He said, my biggest takeaway was just how much he wanted to be here. See, so you all kind of interpret these things different ways. But here's another thing you can interpret. Now that you've heard from the guy, we all know about his history. Certainly, it's only a guess what he's going to do. But what's a realistic expectation for him? And I'd written that down in my notes. I can show you where I had it written down. But in the first segment, you were talking about, man, if they were just interesting on offense, because somebody said I'm going to cry the first time they score 30 points in the F&M Bank chat earlier, and you said, what if they go and they play a game they lose 34-31 in the first year? Maybe they're losing some shootout games. There hadn't been any shootouts around here hardly in so long.
No, there's no shotguns, man.
Right, there was no bullets on this side of the gun. So just curious, because people are kind of slipping things like that into the chat. And I thought, well, let's ask people, because we can have another day where we say, like, what's your bold prediction for Callahan? Let's hold on to that one. Today, it's what's your realistic expectation for Callahan. We'll start with Seth in Goodlettsville. Up first, realistic expectation for the new Titans coach, Seth.
What's going on, guys? How are y'all doing?
Good.
Hey, great.
Doing good. My realistic expectation is maybe he goes undefeated divisional games at home. It's a little much, but,
Okay.
I could see maybe him doing that.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Go 4-0, or 2, 4. 3-0.
3-0 at home. It'd be nice to see some more division wins around here. Let's get Jonathan in Gallatin up next. What's up, Jonathan in Gallatin?
Hey, guy, Mickey, you got mine right off the bat coming back from the break was the points per game average. I think is definitely going to will go up. I mean, it has to go up, right, from where we were. But I'm going to say at least 7 to 10 points per game going to increase. Just with his knowledge of the offense and what he's going to do with Will Levis.
I appreciate the phone call. A bunch of answers for this in the chat. Randall Williamson says, again, you want to jump in, 615-737-1045. Maybe your expectations are low. Maybe you think it's 5 wins. I don't know. Hit us up. Tell us what you think. Brandon, in the F&M Bank chat says, a winning record. Randall, right above that, says 7 wins or better for year one. 7 would be one better than this year.
I forget. 6 games.
And then right under those two guys, you have Professor Existentialist. People have all their names here in the chat. I think the ceiling for year one is 9 wins. DHB says, fight for a wild card spot in week 18. Hey, man.
Ooh, I take that for sure.
Playing for a playoff spot in the last week of the season. If somebody puts that in front of you right now, would you sign off on that for Callahan for year one?
Yeah.
Hey, man.
But 10-7, and that'll put you at 10-8.
9-8. If you're 8-8 and playing for win number 9.
17 games in regular season now.
So if you're 8-8 and playing for win number 9, the last week of the season, you'd be playing for win number 9. And that gets somebody into the playoffs every year.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
See, I'm
with you on that.
It's like that scene in That Thing You Do where they're in the camper and they're signing the contract with a guy to manage the band. And he says, I'm signing, you're all signing. I mean, in the playoff hunt, the last week of the season, OG may be a little bit optimistic. The O in OG stands for optimistic. 10-7 next year.
Win at least 4 more games.
Ooh.
Did you see the home schedule? I saw we play the Jets at home. I get to see Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
For the last hurrah.
I saw him here with the Packers a few years ago. Took a bunch of pictures of him.
Yeah,
he was throwing the ball on the ground and making it spin.
Oh, yeah, he's magical.
Tennessee Tim said 6 30-point games.
Ooh,
now you talk
in a
about
season?
Magical. What would people do? What did we figure out, Bananas? It was the last game of 2021 season, the last time they scored 30 points.
Oh, man, if they do.
January 2nd.
Yeah.
It was of the next year.
Of 2022,
I think that's the requirement of the first game. First regular season game, you got to put up 30 or more.
These rascals
I don't care about the win-loss. You got to put up 30 or more.
These rascals go out and score 30 week 1.
And look, man, because that first week you can dupe some people, man. You can get. I hated the first week of the season.
You give Wiz a whole off season to prepare. He could win game 1 every year.
Every time.
Nobody won a game with 200 days of prep like Wiz. Some of these are like Shane says, 8 wins, 20-plus TD passes for Levis, score 30 points at least. He says score 30 points, at least 30 points. I'm not expecting 10 or 11 wins. This is going to be a process. Several of these. Jibo says 7 wins. DHB, if we can get to 9 and 8, be good in the division. We'll have a chance at the wild card spot. Year 2 expectation for the playoffs, says Randall. You guys are all over the place. I absolutely love it. Let's get Logan in Smyrna up next. Your realistic expectation for Titans coach Brian Callahan.
Yeah, is this Logan Ryan?
Oh, I hope it is.
I wish it was.
You'd be playing safety in the NFL right now.
I definitely wouldn't be in this car picking up my little nephew right now. But what's going on, guys? Thanks y'all for taking my call.
Yeah, man, that's a good uncle picking up a nephew. Good on you.
You.
Yes, sir. All right, so expectations, 8-8 record. Callahan brings in some fire with our offense. Will Levis, obviously. We're going to put away the run game just a slight tad, you know what I'm saying? Keep the play action in progress. We're gonna beat each divisional team at least once, hopefully, God. I want to beat at least wipe the Colts completely, and then let's just bring in T. Higgins. Let's make some plays, tighten up, baby.
Hey, you and your nephew have a good day. I don't know if T. Higgins is bring-inable because they could always franchise him.
Yeah. We don't know. We shall see.
I mean, it'd be fun to have him here.
Well, they just put him on a silver platter. I mean, oh, man, I'd be franchise tagging one more year.
One more year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure Joey Burrow was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Larry in Hermitage up next. Larry in Herm, what's up?
Oh, nothing much. I'm glad you took my call and enjoyed listening to your show. But, yeah, I was going to say that I think going into the first year having low expectations and then they blow us out of the water with like a, 11-5 record would be awesome. But realistically, I'm thinking it'll be 5-12 and we'll get acclimated with the team a little bit more because his first year he's still trying to learn. But that's what I have to say about that. But, yeah, thank you for taking my call. And I think 5-12 is more realistic and we'll have a good offense.
Ooh, 5-12.
5-12, he said, but we'll have
a good offense. Man. Randall, people are responding to just everything. Randall said, I think the tag on a wide receiver is around $22.5 million.
That's what I said. They're going to have to bite it for 1 year.
If they have the cap space, he said, $22.5 million, man. And it's for people who don't know, if you get that exclusive tag like that, it's all 1 year. It's a 1 year hit for whatever the amount is.
Mm-hmm. The franchise tag, it's top 5 in the league on average, and that's what it is, 22.
Nick said, beat the Texans in the Oilers uniforms. He does that, he'll make Mama Amy happy.
Yes, sir.
OG says, what happens if we lose the first game 20-6? People would be unhappy.
That would be a nightmare.
That would be terrible. Trey in Nashville, with Trey's expectations, realistic expectations.
What's up, guys?
Hello.
How y'all doing today?
Good, man.
Hey, I'm going all in.
Okay.
Forget them half Titans. I'm going 10 in the division. Blaine, we going 10 in the division, bro.
Oh, man.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going all in with this. Hey, I'm going all in with Coach. I'm going all in with Coach. Hey, y'all have a good day, okay?
Trey, if anybody starts to say Trey's crazy, what did the Texans do?
Oh, they just did it.
They just did it with a rookie quarterback.
And coach.
And a rookie coach. And they were picked about 32nd in the league by people this year. Now, that doesn't matter, but that's what people thought about them in the preseason. The NFL is made so you can turn things around quickly. I mean, it just is.
And by the way, that he'll probably get Coach of the Year and he'll win Rookie of the Year, C.J. Stroud, too.
Oh, they're going to have to expand their trophy case over there because it's going to be full. Josh in Greenbrier up next. Realistic expectations for Brian Callahan and these Titans in year 1.
How are y'all?
Good.
Doing really well.
All right. I'm going to say we're going to have a top 10 in the secondary this year on defense.
Man, how you proposing that? They got to put a bunch of new parts and pieces in there for sure.
Yeah, I think Callahan can put the parts and pieces in there, though.
All right. I mean, he's an offensive guy, but he and Rand can shop for some defensive players, I'm sure. They're going to need some.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate the phone call. Yeah, that secondary, they could look way different, man.
Oh yeah. Well, only I can Hooker, McCurry. Right now, who are starters to me?
Yeah, Hooker and McCrary.
Yeah, that's it. Based off the people who played last year whose contracts are up.
Right.
Fulton's up. Bunting's up.
Yep. Byard's gone. Revolving door of other guys next to Hooker.
Yeah, so
I don't know what the statuses are on those guys. You got to know that your Trey Avery is a backup.
Yeah.
He'd still be under contract.
He's a backup.
All right, real quick before I
Boy,
go back
phones
to
are
the before I
breaking
go
here.
back to the
Yeah.
phones, I'm gonna sneak mine in real quick. So I want to look at Will Levis right here in his second year as a starter. McNair in his second year as a full-time starter had 3,200 yards. Vince Young, so I'm going back for people that they drafted and then started for multiple years. Vince Young, his second year as a starter, 2,500 yards. Marcus Mariota, 3,400 yards. Will Levis needs to get above that 3,500-yard mark in his second year. That is my realistic expectation. I think the offense is going to change. I think they're going to pass a lot more, and I think they're going to focus on Levis. That's my expectation.
There you go, Bananas.
Yeah. So what's their record?
Do what?
What's your record prediction?
Is that Will Levis is going to have over 3,500 yards in his second year as a starter.
Oh, so it's just a Will Levis thing.
Well, I
asked you who would your win-loss number.
Oh, for the Titans.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 9 games. Is their ceiling?
10 guys threw for 10,000 yards last year. I just checked it. 10,000.
10,000.
10 guys threw for 4,000 yards. 10 guys. Maybe I am taking cold medicine. 10 guys threw for 4,000 yards last year. No Titan has ever done that.
That's insane to me.
In the modern NFL.
Yeah, that's
10 guys did it. And I would imagine other years there have been more than 10 guys who've done it.
You got the 10 guys who's done it this year?
Tua, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott. Tua threw for 4,600 yards. Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Brock Purdy, because people were like, oh, it's a caretaker. The caretaker threw for 4,200 yards.
Caretaker got to get it to his caretakers.
He threw it for more yards than Patrick Mahomes. He was after Brock Purdy. You could have had a lot of money winning at parties, having people guess that.
Debo, Ayuk.
Yep.
Kittle,
who looked great this year.
And what's the Justin 44?
Juszczyk, who catches the ball great. Mahomes was 6, Jordan Love 7, C.J. Stroud 8, Baker Mayfield 9, Trevor Lawrence 10. So this isn't all people you think could be throwing for 4,000 yards. I would love to know when people think the Titans could have a quarterback to get there. Because if anybody would run an offense that looks like it could happen, it seems like it'd be Callahan. And his guys were hurt, so Burrow didn't have the chance, and the other guy didn't play enough. So that's why they didn't have a 4,000-yard passer.
Right. But they were combined 6,000 and some, I think.
Burrow threw for 2,300, and Browning threw for about 2,000.
So that's 48.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were up.
So they chucked the ball all over the dang yard with those two guys. And the other guy had never played. Jake Browning, he'd been floating around for a while.
I forgot where he went to college. I had to look him up. Washington.
He was on the Raiders, the Vikings practice squad for 2 years. Didn't play. Then he went to the Bengals and was on their team 2 years. Didn't play. And then this year he goes out and he had the highest completion percentage in the NFL this year, 70%. 1,900 yards, just under 2,000 yards, 8 yards per attempt for him, which is, that's like a full yard, almost better than what Levis did. So they made him a quarterback. They had a winning record with him. All right,
it's feasible.
You want to keep taking some more of these calls?
Yeah.
People are checking in, man. I love
all
this.
Over the place, too.
Y'all got realistic expectations, and we're here for all of them. Denver Dan in Franklin up next. Denver Dan sounds like a 70s guy who had opened for Dan Fogelberg.
That would have been great. I wish I had.
Just write you some songs, man.
Yeah. Thanks. Guys, one good thing is that we're playing a last place schedule, so that helps a lot. But there are two things that everybody needs to use to temper their expectations. One, we got the offensive line. We need like 4 new starters on the offensive line, in my opinion. And without a line, it doesn't matter how magical he is with Will Levis and stuff. He's going to get clobbered without a better offensive on the defensive side of the ball, how many of them we keep, and then who we can bring in. So there's some big challenges there. No matter how great he is, I think we're going to win one less game than we did this year.
So you're saying 5-12, right?
One less game, says Denver Dan.
Yeah, that's a good point, though.
John
we're
Ford
talking about
Coley.
no corners.
Yeah.
You know, roster Autry's up. Key's still back though, right? Or is he 1 year?
Oh gosh.
I think he signed a 3 year. It wasn't a 1 year, was it?
No, I think that's right. It was a multi-year deal. And then Brunskill was a 2-year deal. Most everybody else was all a 1, except for Dillard, who luckily they signed him for 3.
I think they can get out of it, though, after 1.
No, I think they're going to get out.
I think they can. Matter of fact, I know they say they can. Nah. Yeah, they Dillard.
He's about to eat up some of their cap space.
In the linebacker.
Dead cap space.
We saw with the 49ers over
Aziz. He was warming them up at the game, man.
Yeah, man. They got to find at least someone, if not him, another quality player like that. Solid player.
Boy, I know they wouldn't do this, but Lions, they drafted that dude from Iowa in the first round. Then they drafted a running back, and then they drafted.
All unconventional, but guess what he did know? These dudes are ballers. I'm not going to miss. They're going to be telling me I didn't draft a guy that can't play.
Hey, man, Dan Campbell was like, I don't care. This is what I identified.
He said, I identify ballers. Everybody, why you draft Gibbs at number 12? Smaller back. You already got a running back.
That dude, he didn't care.
Ballers.
They drafted ballers. Ryan from Lebanon is a baller. That's what I hear. What's your baller expectations for this coach in year 1?
Yeah, I like Campbell, man.
Man, I think at least 10 wins, depending on what they do in the draft. Obviously we need an offensive lineman, right? But we have to have playmakers. Without playmakers, you ain't gonna win no ball games. So I disagree with the previous caller. But you go get a playmaker in the first round, go get some offensive lineman in the second, and then I don't know, maybe do something in free agency with all that money. But definitely got to get some playmakers in there. Get playmakers, I say 13 games. No playmaker in the first round, you back down to 10 games. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, man, that is extremely optimistic.
Ooh. Well, I sure hope that happens.
Oh, man, that'd be something. Steve in Lebanon also. What's up, Steve?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
What's going on, Steve?
Hey, my expectations are 8 and 9. With the last place schedule, we're still going to lose 2 out of those 3 games to Bravely at Los Angeles and probably Cincinnati at Cincinnati. And with our offensive line not gelling at all, and if we actually draft it, I don't see it getting much better. I just see us coming out a little better this year on 1-score games instead of being like 1 for ever, not winning. And we're not that good yet. Even if I don't care who we draft in the first round, I just don't think we're going to come behind because we don't really have any real playmakers except DeAndre. That's all we have.
I appreciate the phone call, Steve. Sorry, we're right up against the break. So we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll call our shot. There's a bunch of people who want to slip in their expectations.
Yeah.
Try to take as many of these as we can, too. We'll call a quick shot, give a shout-out to our friends at Chattanooga Whiskey, and head back to the phones for you guys. You can even slip in a shot call. Maybe your expectations could just be a called shot. We'll be right back. Blaine and Mickey. Josh in Kentucky gets after it. Josh, what do you got, man? Real quick, expectations year 1 for Callahan, the Titans.
All right. Well, because I know the Titans aren't smart enough to realize that their whole draft should be all offensive line and every move that they make is offensive line. I'm going to say 4-13 and that Levis doesn't make it through the season because they were so terrible.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to make it. And I said last year, same thing. They would go through all 3 quarterbacks, and I was almost there.
Well, they did play all 3, Josh, so you were right about that. All right, 2 more real quick. Jason in Chattanooga, keep us at about 30 seconds or so, buddy.
Yeah, guys, I just, I want to see them do 1 game better than this past year. But what I really like to see is for a whole new strength and conditioning program and for our team to actually not play more players than every other team. It would just be nice to have 80% of the team finish the season.
There you go. Well, it's set up for that. It was said in the statement they will be at the forefront of everything, including sports science, which that's what that is. All right, one more. Henry in Lebanon finishing us up. Expectations.
I'm hoping we do 9-8, and I'm calling my shot. We're going to win back the South this year.
Woo!
Like it.
Man.
Yeah. I definitely would say between 7 and 9 wins. I'm hoping for 9. They get the win. It's still based off of they haven't done the free agency and they haven't done the draft. Once that happens, then we'll see where the hitman.
I mean, they won 6 games being as bad as they were last year.
And they didn't bottom out. Most teams, when they bottom out, it's like 2 wins or whatever. They didn't. I mean, they dropped 6 wins. So
you're going through a whole new coaching staff, though.
Yeah.
You got to learn a whole new system on both sides of the ball. Sometimes that hurts. Sometimes that helps certain guys initially.
I can't wait to hear people
see what happened to Philadelphia when they both lost both their OC and DC, right?
Yeah.
True. I can't wait to hear people's bold expectations. If those were realistic, I want to hear the bold.
Oh, we're going to get to those next week. But right now, that means we got to go.
Right,
because for us, it's about to be next week because that'll be the next time you hear us. But you will hear